I'm Monique. I want to do a very simple, basic makeup look that you can use for every day and that it is using clean beauty products. So I'm going to start off with just priming my face. So anytime before you put on makeup, you do your skincare routine and then you put on a primer, just something that can help the makeup to adhere to, just to make it a little bit more pliable. And I'm actually using Lawless, and they have an amazing skin primer. I'm gonna be honest with you, I say clean with like quotation marks, mainly because these products that I'm going to be featuring, they all have like mission statements about using vegan, cruelty-free products, emphasizing more on like healthier ingredients versus loading with a ton of unnecessary chemicals. You need chemicals, you need preservatives in your makeup across the board for it to be safe and for it to be stable for a long shelf life kind of a thing. But I appreciate that these brands are at least making an effort and they're a little bit more mainstream, the ones that I'm going to be featuring. Anything that I don't actually mention by name doesn't really align with those statements, but for the most part I'm keeping this clean, just getting everything hydrated. And definitely for like more mature skin or skin that is drier, it's good to have like a water-based, more moisturizer type primer before you start your makeup, along with your skincare, of course. I think it helps. Next, I'm actually going to get into my brows, and I have a really nice product that I've been using for a while. It is the Arches and Halos eyebrow duo, and I think it's actually a pretty great dupe for the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow duo quad. You get a brush, spoolie on one end, a sharp angle on the other end, and you just comb your brows and you fill in to the best of your ability. So I'm going in my little eyeshadow palette here, and I'm just using the darker color towards the end. You should feel like you're doing a gradient effect, so lighter towards the front and then darker as you go towards more the peak and then towards the tail end. I think people go in and they individually put in like every single hair. I'm unfortunately a little bit more impatient, so unless you're into the very dark, dramatic eyebrows, that's totally cool. But for a simple everyday look that you want to achieve easily, you just want the eyebrows just to kind of frame your face and look a little bit balanced versus really overdone. But you know, it's totally personal preference. As I said, I do really broad strokes. Free, and it's talc free, so a lot of the products that I'm going to be featuring, if they're powder, they're talc free, which I'm trying to look for more. Not saying that I don't use talc at all. There's just some eyeshadow quads and palettes that I really like that use talc, which is fine, but for like an everyday look, I think it's a little better to veer away from a lot of talc products. So I think I'm going to just put in a teensy bit of concealer just to kind of clean up under the brows a little bit. What I'm going to be using is actually Saie, their Hydra Beam concealer. So that's the box. This is like a more creamy formula. It's not super heavy coverage, but if you're looking for an everyday basic look, I don't know if you would be looking for something that's super heavy coverage unless you have a lot of darkness around the eyes and face in general. I'm just gonna get like a nice flat concealer brush there. Just kind of gently it's just very, very minor cleanup there. So just a tiny, teensy little bit of cleanup. If you really want much more sculpted, much more defined brows, obviously you go in with more concealer and build up as you go. Color my lids a little bit. I'm actually gonna go in with a bronzer, and I'm using the Gwen Stefani makeup brand. This is the Give. This is her bronzer duo in Heat Wave, and it has like the contour that is darker, that's like a cream, and then it has the bronzer that is the powder, and I think it's like a good overall look for the entire eye. So just gonna use nice fluffy brush here, and I'm using an EcoTools brush. And I'm just gonna pat all over my eye just to kind of give myself a little bit of color. So after that, I'm going to get maybe a little bit more of a defining brush. So I got like a little flat top brush there. I'm gonna do the old school YouTube makeup girly thing with the hand out. And I'm gonna just put in a little bit of dark shadow just around my lash line, just to give a little bit more depth. And I'm actually gonna go back and use the same eyebrow quad that I was. I have very sensitive eyes, so I know some will actually go underneath the eyelashes and kind of press into that waterline. I don't do that because I'd be creating waterfalls here, and that's not cute. So I just go right on top of the lash line there, and I just kind of press. And powder is so much more forgiving as eyeliner than actual liquid liner. It just gives me a little something, a little bit of a lift. And if you want to define that a little bit more, that's totally up to you. I'm going to move on now to putting on some mascara. First, I'm going to curl my lashes with an eyelash curler. I believe this is the Shumura one. Right, and then I'll go in with my mascara, and we just keep this pushing. So very simple eye look. As far as mascara, LYS Beauty has a really amazing mascara, and it's like nice and lengthening. It's the white tube one. Just beautiful. Gives you kind of a falsy look. So now I'm going to go into my actual base, and I'm going to be using this remarkable foundation. It's the LYS, and it's their Triple Fix Serum Foundation. This is a really nice green brand, clean brand. I think it's Black owned as well. At least that's what I see on the Sephora website. Love this bottle. And it's in the color DN5. Looking simple. So I have this flat top kabuki brush, but whatever foundation brush you want to use, that's absolutely fine. I'm just gonna do a little bit of dotting in areas that I want to focus a little bit more coverage on, and then I'm just going to start blending. Very mature skin friendly foundation. It is right in the name. It has a very serum-like quality to it, and it's very hydrating. So between having like a hydrating primer, something that's like water-based, it's got some moisture in it, and using a foundation that's more on like the satin, almost dewy finish. Going with concealer now. Again, I'm going to reach for the Saie Hydra Beam concealer, and I'm just going to go around the eyes a little bit. I have some discoloration. And of course, if you're doing this easy basic routine for the morning, you know, sometimes you got bags or a little bit of dark circles. I am going to warn though that this is not a heavy coverage concealer like I mentioned earlier. This is definitely on the lighter side. So I'm putting it more towards the inner corner of the eye. Definitely recommend doing your skin prep and getting your favorite eye cream and just putting a little bit under. The more hydrated your under eye skin is, which tends to be a lot drier than the rest of your face, the better I think makeup sits. So, and then I'm just taking that same concealer brush I used earlier, and I'm just patting and spreading that concealer out. And any mistakes that you do along the way, you can just use a Q-tip to kind of smooth out. Get a little bit of micellar water, put some on the tip, and then just correct as you see fit. If you're super anal about it being absolutely pitch perfect, for I believe my last cream product, I'm gonna go in with some blush. So Saie again has really great green clean products, and I believe they're cruelty free. I'm using the color Chili, which is kind of like a subtle mauve purpley tone. And I'm going to start to blend out. I'm going back in with my Kabuki foundation brush to kind of do like a subtle lifting of the face. Of course, with mature skin, as you get older, your face tends to droop downwards. And I definitely have more of like a round face, so I try to bring the product up. All right, so it's a nice subtle flush to the skin. So once you have done all your blending, you feel that your blending is where you want it to be, you then get in the dry products to kind of set everything in. A Lawless one, this is their translucent setting powder, Seal the Deal in golden translucent. One of the best, talc free, and then as I said earlier, Lawless is one of those that tote having more quality, healthier ingredients. And I'm just gonna put that in my T-zone. So I'm gonna aim right at the forehead, down the nose, down the chin. Using a big fluffy brush here, and I put some powder into the container lid, and I'm just going to gently pat, and you're gonna see how immediately it takes down the shine. A little bit of a more smaller foam, like a domed fluffy brush. This is actually a concealer brush as well. I think you can use for both cream and powdered products. And I'm going to use this just to go and set the concealer a little bit under the eye. And it's like a really nice, natural, glowy finish, which I really appreciate. If you wanted, you could just stop right there, and that would be a really nice, you know, everyday look that you could go out with, where you just feel a little bit more awake and you're a little bit more hydrated and everything's a little bit more cohesive. But I'm going to go just a step further, and I'm going to maybe use a tiny bit of that same bronzer that I've been using, just to kind of give me a teensy bit more of a glow. And I'm just going to go around the perimeter, so right on top of the forehead there, cheekbone, and I'm just kind of pinching the brush just to get in those hollows, and then a little bit around the jawline there. And for the final part of the look, for this everyday, easy, clean look, I am going to use first a neutral lip pencil. This is from the brand Red Apple Lipstick. They are all about vegan, cruelty-free products, clean formula. This color is Barely Pink, and I'm just going to line around my lips here. And I'm going to smush my lips together, creating a little bit of a stain. So Merit has some really gorgeous satin shades as far as lipsticks. So they go on and they're not exactly glossy, but they're not drying matte either. But this is like a good in-between. I have the color Millennial, and they have another really gorgeous neutral shade in Baby. So I feel like for this kind of a look, Baby and or what I'm using, Millennial, would work really well. It's a nice, beautiful mauve in the same color family as the blush that I used. It's really hydrating, and it helps if you have like a lip balm that you put on before your lipsticks, but this is a really hydrating formula on its own. You don't really need to use a lot of lip balm beforehand. You could pretty much leave it like that, but I'm going to do one last final thing, and I'm just going to use a little bit of a sparkly topper. And that is it. That is my everyday simple makeup routine using clean beauty products. These are, I think, really high quality, and this look is really nice. If you want to go a step further, you can use like a setting spray to kind of lock in, but on the makeup's own, with the hydrating primer that I used, with the setting powder from Lawless, this look pretty much stays consistent throughout the day, and I would be fine with just this. I hope this was helpful. I hope this will help you in choosing makeup products if you feel that you want to take a step back from the typical commercially available products. So there absolutely is functionality in chemicals, and not all chemicals are bad. Some of them are very good. There's a lot of naturally occurring chemicals in the world, but I totally understand those that are on the mission to be using more healthier ingredients, especially because your skin is your largest organ. It absorbs everything that you put onto it, and if you're using makeup on a day-to-day basis, not just for special events, you tend to want to have something cleaner. So I hope this helps in giving you some options